All right, y'all. I'm so excited because today's conversation is one that I wish more women had before they ever stepped into a hospital room. Because when it comes to birth, so many of us are told what to expect, but we're not always empowered to understand what's actually happening in our bodies or what choices we actually have in that room and before that room. And we may not even know what to expect when it comes to our care. But today's guest is changing that. And I also say this because today's guest is a dear friend, someone that I love, someone that I protect, someone that I hold, and someone I deeply admire. And you know her and you love her. Now, Jen Hamilton is a labor and delivery nurse. She's an educator, and she's one of the most trusted voices online when it comes to pregnancy, birth, and postpartum care. So if you've ever found yourself on social media trying to figure out what's normal, what's not normal, and what questions you should be asking, there's a good chance you've already learned something from her. I know I've learned everything from her. Now, she's built a platform that's rooted in honesty, in education, and in advocacy, helping women feel informed, supported, and confident as they navigate the most vulnerable and powerful experiences of their lives. And now she's bringing that same clarity and empowerment into her upcoming book, Birth Vibes. Y'all, I'm so stupid excited about this book. I can't even tell you. I'm so excited. It's a guide that's designed to help women understand their options, trust their instincts, and walk into birth feeling prepared instead of panicked. Listen, birth is not just a medical event. It's an experience. And every woman deserves to feel seen and heard and respected in it. So today, we're talking about birth. We're talking about advocacy. We're talking about expectations versus reality and how to step into this season with both knowledge and confidence. Jen, I love you so dearly. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. I'm just so excited to get to talk to you today. It feels so surreal to be on a call with you after knowing you for so long.
Listen, I can't even begin to quantify the impact that you played in my birthing experience because I was one of those moms. That's how I found you, and I was telling Jen when we were a little offline a little earlier that I have a Finsta, right? A fake Instagram. That's what the kids call it, the youth. And I was using that to follow you before I'd announced my pregnancy because I didn't want people to see that I'd started following a bunch of pregnant people, for my guidance, a bunch of nurses. And I mean, you instantly put the calm into my spirit about being a, high risk, seasoned mama. And a lot of it was because you were funny and attractive. And I said, look, I need good looking people in my birthing situation. And if I could get a Jen Hamilton, I will be just fine.
You're so silly.
I appreciate you. So that said, you decided to put so much of what you do online. I mean, some of your most viral videos are you talking about how you would walk through and how you do walk mamas through these experiences. And now you're pulling that into this book, Birth Vibes. Can you tell me a little bit more for people who are not familiar with you, which I don't know how that's possible because some version of you has come across our timeline, either with laughs or with love, kind of this walking through this labor and delivery experience and why you're so passionate about curating it, and allowing mamas to know how to curate it so it's the best thing ever.
Yeah. So my start on social media was not labor and delivery forward at all. Actually, when I kind of started doing social media, I was a new labor and delivery nurse. My past nursey self was in the ER. And as the algorithm kind of learned who I was, I started getting videos from patients who, weren't patients that came to my hospital, but they went to a hospital. And in hearing their stories of seemingly, to me, normal births that were imprinted in their mind as traumatic, not from exactly what happened, but how it happened.
Yes.
It just really brought forward to me that, you could have a birth go completely, totally to plan, check off every single thing on your birth plan, but still leave that experience feeling negative about it or scared or guilty or disappointed if you don't have those other intangible things around your birth. How are you communicated with? What's your environment like? Who do you have with you and what are they doing? Are you getting your questions answered? All these other things have so much more to do, more of an impact on your birth experience than the what happened. So I started talking about it and I started kind of giving some clarity to maybe some misinformation that people may see online before they come in. Because, I mean, as a pregnant person, you're wanting to soak in all the information you can ahead of time so that it can inform your choices during. And when you're seeing conflicting information, it's important that we have media literacy and talking about where is this coming from, what's the source, what is the evidence behind it. So that kind of got me going on like the labor and delivery side. But then one choice that I made in social media that I'm glad that I did was I didn't just let myself be only labor and delivery Jen. Like I'm a lady who has chickens and I try to be silly and like I'm all whenever somebody asks me what my niche is, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, we get
There's a
to see
lot of
all
stuff.
of you. That's kind of the
Yeah.
treat, right? I think that one of the things that I loved and love about, what you put out in the world is that you're really humanizing the person in the room that we really only get to know for a couple hours, and the idea, I don't really know many spaces in our lives where we are in the hands of someone literally with not just our life, but the life that is, we've been nurturing and for some people praying for years, with someone that we've known for minutes, like truly minutes before we're kind of out of body, and so being able to like, I remember the name of the nurses that were in my room, at the time, but do I know much about them? Do I know their ages? Do I know if they have chickens? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, but they're seeing my full lady bits, you know what I mean? And what's great is if they're anything like you, then that makes me feel safer, and I think that's what you do when you show us things like, some of your content, you've got like, a little chick on your shoulder, and I think thinking of my nurse in that moment being someone like you helps us already feel more comfortable going in there. Now, I do want to know though, one of the things you talked about is misinformation, right? You talked about being able to come with a professional, perspective on what's happening in that room. I really appreciate that you kind of managed to tell us what's happening in there without talking down to us, like the communication of it, you make it into bite-sized. Can you walk me through a little bit more about how you're doing that in your book? Like, is it in chapters? Is it, just for people who haven't read it? Because obviously I get free previews. Haha, yaha, but other people don't, right? So can you walk through how this isn't a medical book? This isn't like what to expect when you're expecting. This is like, hey girl, let me tell you what's about to go down, and here's how it's going to be good. Here's how it
Yeah.
can be good. Can you tell me
Right.
a little bit more about that?
Sure. So the first half of the book is they're all stories and they're not like I had to make them HIPAA compliant, obviously.
Of
So
course.
each of those stories are maybe like two or three, maybe four patients that I've cared for in my mind. Like these are real things that have happened, but I kind
Mm-hmm.
of put them together to make a whole new patient. So each of the individual things that happen in those stories are real things that have happened, but kind of put together in a
Yep.
fictional patient. So through those stories, my goal is to show you births that went different than someone thought, but still can be empowering, transformative experiences.
Yes.
Because there is this kind of, I don't want to say that people are thinking this outright when they come in, but there's this level of trying to figure out whether you've passed or failed on your birth experience by how closely you stayed to your birth plan.
Mm-hmm.
When the pass or fail is whether or not you felt supported and seen and heard and you felt empowered in your decision making and you can leave that experience knowing that you made confident decisions. So that first half are the stories, and through each story we talk about a different birth vibe. I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting that in air quotes of a different way that you can think about your birth and plan for your birth around that thing based on who you are as a human being. So like
Yes.
communication. We all want to be communicated with differently. We all take in information differently. So, are you a visual learner? Do you need someone who's going to kind of hold your hand through the whole process and give you all the good things about what's happening, or do you want somebody who's going to shoot it to you straight? Like we all have different needs around those things. And then you can kind of build your birth vibe around those. And then the second half is all the information that I wish that people knew when they came in. So it's really easy to come in and have a doctor say to you, okay, this is the plan. This is what I'm going to do to you to get this baby out. when you have choice. There are different paths that you can choose with different risks and benefits. And so the second half is all those things that I wish that people knew so that they're not having to take in all this information when they're in pain. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of have like a baseline of information to help inform your decisions as you go. And through that book, I try to make it to where I don't care what you do.
Right.
Okay. What
Right.
you do is what you do. My job is to give you the information that you need to make a decision. And past that, that's your
That's up
decision.
to
I'm
you.
gonna, yeah,
But that's what we love about you too. And I think one of the things that I appreciate, not just about this, but everything that you confront, I mean, you talk about the state of the world, you talk about chickens, you talk about how you feel about your body, you talk about just so many real life things that I think women of our age just kind of confront. And when you talk about those things, it's never from a place of judgment, but it also isn't watered down as to not imply like, we know better, right? Like we know that we
yeah,
can, we're empowered to make good choices. And so let's
right,
talk about, hey, I'm not presenting every option to you in the world because some of those options are not actually viable options. So,
right.
no, it is not possible for you to do your C-section at home. And we're not going to even sit here and talk about that because that's not an option here. And I appreciate very much knowing that what's in that book and what's in Birth Vibes may not be 100% all encompassing, but you are kind of giving us, again, the vibes that are in the room so we can kind of figure out what makes sense for us. So one thing I love about the book is I think it's not just for the birthing person, but it also is something that your partner can read. It's something that a mother or a grandmother or a sister or a friend can read because realistically, I was the birthing person, I forgot when I got in there
Yeah,
everything that I thought. And the person I thought I would be going in there, which, I'm going to tell on myself here, and I think you're probably going to be like, this happened, right? Is I went in there saying my style of birthing. We didn't have a birth plan, by the way. We were just kind of like, our birth plan is for everybody to get out alive. You know what I mean? And we'll make the
yeah,
choices we can. So when I went in there, I was like, okay, I'm going to be the type where I don't really want you to interfere. Like to my husband, to Alex. I said, Alex, like, please don't be all up on me. This is not some like beautiful TV emotional thing. Like, God, I love you. Just like, brushing my hair. You are such a divine goddess. I don't
right,
want none of that. You know what I mean? Like, if you call
right,
me divine goddess one time, like we
right.
are battling it out. I will send you out the room. Like, I was like, I don't want any of that. And I was like, just stay in a corner and I will speak for myself until I need something, right? I thought I was going to CEO my experience.
Yeah.
Girl, I got in there and I said, can you hold my hand? I need you. I don't know what to do. I love you so much. Please. Like I turned into a puddle and I did not expect that. But he knew exactly how to do because also he knows me. He he was like, she was playing tough until she wasn't.
Yeah.
Birth covers, that we have a right to, I think this is the most empowering part. We have the right to evolve in that
Yeah,
moment. Can you tell
exactly.
us more about that for the women here who are planners, chronic planners, type A'ers, who are
Yeah.
feeling like, why I need this book is to know that there are alternatives
Yeah.
because I have a plan.
In the book, I talk about that making a really specific birth plan about the things that you are going to like or not like in labor is like planning a surprise party for someone you've never met. So
Mm.
you may think that you know that this person is going to want a seafood boil outside, at a picnic. And then when you meet that person, oh, actually, that person has shellfish allergies and they're allergic to the sun. That doesn't mean that we shove a plate of crabs in front of them because that was the plan all along. It means that, hey, we evolve, we adapt, we take in that new information and allow us to have a better experience because of that new information. So maybe we bring that party inside, we order some pizza, and we still have an awesome happy birthday party, but we use the new information that we have to inform our choices going forward. I think that sometimes people get locked on to a certain way that they're gonna do things. So
Mhm.
let me give an example. Sometimes I have people who've prepared their entire pregnancy for a water birth, and they've done all their homework. They get in the water, and it doesn't meet their expectations,
That's
right?
right.
They find out that they're hurting and wet, and then they feel panicked because they're like,
Mhm.
this was all I was ever going to do. So
Mhm.
now what? Now, there are people that get in the water and like, this is everything that I need. This is all that I ever wanted. And that's awesome. But if you find yourself as that person who doesn't vibe with it as much, how do you let that inform your choices going forward? Do you stick it out and be miserable because that's what you said you were going to do? Of course not. You evolve, you adapt, you move in other ways. You can get in, maybe you need the shower instead of being
That's right.
in the tub. Maybe you want nitrous oxide and be on a birthing ball. Like
Mhm.
there's so many options available to you that it's okay to trust your gut and trust your intuition in the moment to be able to adapt to new situations.
Yes, yes. And I think that that is the core of not just your own personal ethos, but it's like, look, you can trust yourself. Let's figure out how to listen to the vibes that your body is giving you so you
Yeah.
have a great birth. And that I think is probably the most empowering message that needs to be spread far and wide to moms everywhere. And I want to talk a little bit about sort of the nurse standpoint of it, right? Because there are other people in the room. And what does it look like to get that support from your team that's around you? Now, you were just named, and I'm going to flex a little bit for my friend, like Nurse of the Year, right? By the American Nurses Association, or like, I think it was like fanciest, bestest nurse ever. Like something, they give you a crown, they give you cake, like a shirt. I don't know. It's something like that, right? Like, what was it? Say your title. What was it?
The American Nurses Association President's Award.
President's Award.
I like
Listen,
all
my
the names
friend,
you just gave, though.
that's what it is. My friend is fancy. She's brilliant. All the nurses say she is the best one for right now. Okay. And so we love you. And so super proud of you. Congratulations. Well deserved. I wasn't allowed to vote, but if I did, okay, if I did. Now, everyone who's, followed me for a while knows I'm a champion for nurses, having gone through the cancer journey with my middle one, as well as being a birthing person in my 40s, I have witnessed, the magic of nurses and how you stand in the place of not just driving a medical team, because, doctors are there for their opinion, but nurses are in the nitty gritty with you, but also standing in the place of moms when moms can't be there, and in the place of husbands when husbands can't be there, and spouses and partners. And it's just, you do it all. So in the room, when we are surrounded by these people who have to play so many roles in a time where I think, I don't say it's controversial. I like to confront this. I think that there is increasing distrust around nurses, and
Yeah.
around the medical profession that, maybe they're not on our team. Can you talk a little bit about how Birth Vibes helps us understand the role of our team members in this birthing process? Because you are one of them.
Yeah. So one of the audiences that I hope that this book reaches are nurses, both new and old, because I think that new nurses can kind of become whatever environment they're in. And so I think that nurses can either adapt to or what's the word? Adopt
Hmm.
really awesome uh, people skills, right?
Yeah.
They can be compassionate, empathetic, and all those other awesome things, and they also can adopt maybe some not awesome flavors of compassion.
Mhm. Yeah, like
And
stress
so
response behaviors.
right,
Yeah.
and then also you have, older nurses who may be jaded or may feel, like this system in which we work isn't set up for either of us, nurses or
Hmm.
patients, and there can be frustration in that. So I think that knowing that your nurse is human is huge, but also I want to empower nurses to dig deeper when it comes to communication, compassion, and empathy, because I think that 90%, this isn't like a real stat, it's a
Right,
genuine
right, right.
stat, but I believe that 90% of birth trauma can be erased or made less
Minimized.
traumatic
Hmm. For sure.
by timely, accurate, empathetic communication.
Mm.
So if we can harness that as a system, how much could we improve the system by doing that? So I think that the people on your team they get into this because they have a heart. They
To
want to
serve,
give.
a heart to serve. No one would, y'all are underpaid, underappreciated, overworked. It's another version of mothering. You know what I mean? Like, you're mothering people in their worst moments and then going home to mother kids who don't even
Yeah,
care about what you did from
exactly.
I wish I could say 9 to 5, 9 to 9. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you are doing it for the right reasons. So something happened along the way. I think for a lot of nurses, if you have a tough experience where maybe a ball was dropped, like you're saying, around learning communication or knowing when to apply the empathy that we know exists in the desire that's there. And so
Right.
Birth Vibes can also help nurses to be part of that team even more.
I hope so.
I
That's my
hope
goal for
so.
the book.
I know, far and wide. And so I know that I'm very excited about it. There is a tour that's happening, which I think makes sense. For anyone who is following the incredible Jen Hamilton online, I encourage you, if you can, not just grab the book. It is a book that I think is a staple. It is the new What to Expect, which I honestly, What to Expect When You're Expecting is timeless. There's so much there as a sort of baseline, but I think of it as, if What to Expect When You're Expecting is the birthing Bible, this is the thing to help you understand the book and how to apply it, right? Like, the way that you go to school and you may learn, concepts, application is Birth Vibes. You should
Yeah.
not have one without the other. This is a bundle. And if you can only pick one, at least pick one that'll help you put it into practice. And Birth Vibes is it. And I'm so thankful and so grateful that you've written this book. Now, I want to know, Jen Hamilton, about more outside of the book.
Yeah.
You're still in the, because a lot of people who have taken on this sort of role of impacting and influencing the world, you're still delivering babies. How many babies have you delivered this week? It is technically a Thursday.
Let's see. So this last weekend, I worked Saturday and Sunday, 12 hours each shift, and I was in charge both days. So I am like overseeing the unit. So this last weekend, we maybe like 14 babies or something.
Jen
Yeah.
Hamilton, I heard the birthing rate was going down. This is not giving that.
No. And that was slow for us. Like on
What?
Sunday when I left, we had like one patient on the board. We deliver like 6,000 babies a year. So that was really slow for us.
Oh, so now I'm going to ask all because, we're going to nerd out a little bit, right? So 6,000 babies, how many of them umbilical cords are you involved in cutting? Or is that
Oh,
just like handed off?
none. I don't
None?
ever get to do that.
Is that
No.
something, if there was one thing that you handed off that you wish you still got to do, what would it be?
Oh, man. It is okay. It is fun when when the mom does ask you to cut the umbilical cord. That's like a high honor. But
Mm-hmm.
usually it's saved for the dad
The
or
dad,
whoever the
sure.
support person is. Um, I really I do get to be involved in so much of it. Like
Sure.
on any given shift, I can be a bedside nurse
Mm-hmm.
who's one-on-one with somebody. I can be charge nurse, I can be an operating room nurse, I can be the rapid response nurse, or I could be the operating room charge nurse. So that's what I really love is that there's so much flexibility and I do get to do so much hands-on stuff with
Mm-hmm.
people. So it keeps me sharp, keeps me up to date.
Up to date.
Yeah.
So when it comes to 6,000 babies a year, do you ever get to see these babies again? Because one of the things that I promised to not just, because I'm Nicole Walters, I'm constantly like, I got this, right? I said I was going to bring my baby back. I said that to my ultrasound team. I said that to everyone. This baby is about 14 months old and I have not, she is going to be delivering when they see her again. Okay. At this point,
Yep.
because I have not walked her in. Have you met any of the babies that you've delivered again?
A few of them. So
Wow.
there's some people that like become so special in your time together, and it's usually ones that have either had a long journey to come here or they've had like a previous loss or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, or something crazy happens. The ones that you really, really remember, sometimes you will become like Facebook friends with them and like
Sure.
keep up with them as they go. And then I had one girl in particular who her water broke all over me while we were sitting up for an epidural,
Oh,
and she
bless.
found me on Facebook a few weeks later. It was like, "I just want to apologize." She said, "I don't even know if this is the right lady, but I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks, and I'm so sorry that my amniotic fluid filled the cups of your bra." And
Oh my gosh.
And
But Jen, you're
so,
also like, yeah, I've had mama poo on me. I've
right,
been all up in your
I
booty.
didn't
Like,
even
it's just what it
remember.
is,
She
right?
is gone from my mind.
It's a
But
blur.
yeah, so then come to find out she lived like a few streets down from me. So we, got to meet up and stuff after that.
Oh,
But I have had the opportunity to help deliver like a sibling of the
wow.
mom. So like they come in pregnant again someday. And like that's a super fun time too.
That's so cool. And so when you walk around your town, are you like, I remember you, I remember you, I remember you? like what is it? Because it's got to be weird. I feel like I could not walk around and see kids and not be like, I was there. I remember you. Like,
That's why I recognize the dads because
no,
the moms look so different.
that's
There's,
fair.
I mean, like the pregnancy face is so
Mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who lived pregnancy face, it
Listen, girl.
changes you completely.
Yes.
So it's the dads who I recognize first because they
Mhm.
look exactly the same.
That's so
And also
funny.
my brain kind of is like, I know you from somewhere, but like, where do I know you from? Because
Right.
my brain doesn't always make the connection. But yeah, I do recognize people every once in a while, or they will recognize me.
But do you ever see like kids playing on a playground and you're like, disproportionately 63% of these children I have touched. like I have seen them. I know these babies, like these
I'll
are these are my
I'll think
babies.
about it. Yeah, I'll think about it sometime. Like, like if I'm going to like the children's museum or something where there's a large volume
Yes.
of children, I'm like, I wonder how many of your heads I've seen.
That's so funny. Specifically heads. Specifically
Yeah,
heads. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Do you also help with C-sections and any other form of birth, or is that a different team?
yep, all me. Well, not all me.
Wow.
All
Yeah.
I'm in the team.
In all the
All
areas. Yeah. So I have a selfish birthing question because this is about my own birthing experience, so and everyone has heard this birth story before, but I'm just curious about it. So for my birthing experience, and I always try to bring this up not to scare mamas, but I would love to have you contextualize it, because I would say that I had a very normal, low trauma, but eventful birthing experience. Low
Mhm.
trauma in that, I wouldn't want to do it again, but I'm not, like torn up about it. And I'm glad I'm here. So,
Right.
one, I didn't know epidurals could fail. That was news to me. No one ever told me that.
Yeah.
And when I tell this to another woman, they're like, "What?" Like a lot of people don't seem to know that. Is there a reason why that doesn't come up? Is it because it's so rare, or is it because like they tried twice and then it didn't work? I mean, I could stand and walk,
Oh
and they were just like,
no.
"Yeah." And then I made it to 10 inches and crowning before they
You
were
better
able to
not be
get
10 inches. 10 inches.
10,
Right?
is it 10
10 centimeters.
centimeters?
Wow, that's crazy.
Listen, so basically I don't have lady bits anymore. That baby walked up out of there 10 inches.
Right.
So they opened the door, they just took we didn't need a C-section. We removed the
Yeah.
uterus through my bits. And there's
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
no. So no, 10 centimeters and crowning before my anesthesiologist made it back around again. And at that point we were like, let's just
Oh,
do this. Right.
yeah.
So and, so I didn't know that could happen. And
Yeah.
so when they finally were able to, because you might actually help me understand what happened to me. When they finally, I kept articulating, hey, I still feel pain. You know what I mean? Like, and, I'm very articulate. I'm still, because they said you'll know it's bad because you won't even be able to talk through it or breathe through it. But I'm Nicole Walters. I can talk and breathe through anything, like since my youth, So I'm saying this is painful. They said they're bringing the anesthesiologist back around. And, I'm in and out of it, if you will. They finally came around and he put something into, they didn't try to do an epidural again. Cause I guess after a certain point you can't maybe or they weren't able to. So he put something into the IV. And at that point, I guess I started blacking out, like my heart rate started dropping or something. And then there was like a ton of people coming in, like quickly. And then they put something again into the IV. I recall seeing that before it started getting dark. And then I was back. What
Yeah.
happened to me? Because then after that, they were like, I couldn't feel any more pain severely. And they're like, you're ready to push. And I was like, okay. So
Yeah.
what happened? Like, I mean, I don't know if you could speak to it specifically,
Yeah.
but what
I can
happened?
give you some guesses.
And that's
So,
not normal, right? Like that is, I don't know. I've only had one
no,
birth.
no, I would
Okay.
say that, most epidurals work just fine. The
Yes.
most common side effects from an epidural would be like a drop in your blood pressure.
That it was
So,
that happened for
yeah,
sure.
that's like the most common thing. So
Hmm.
we give people like fluid boluses before to kind of prepare your body for that because it
Hmm.
relaxes everything, including your blood vessels, which is what causes that drop in blood pressure.
Mm.
But also if you're going really super fast, like if you're dilating super fast, it can be
Yep.
hard for the epidural to catch up.
Yep. I was on Pitocin. That's the
Yeah.
dilation thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I had that because it was
And
induced.
yeah, I got you.
Mhm.
And also it can be one-sided. That's another thing that
Like
can happen.
the epidural can only numb one half.
Work on one side. Or
Wow.
work
I had
the
no
other.
sides. I had no side. I
Yeah.
felt it
And
everywhere.
that's the worst.
Yeah, that's the, I said, I don't think I shouldn't feel like, and they were like, well, can you move? And I literally lifted my entire pelvic section. Like, you guys can't see, if you're watching on YouTube, you can. I was like, yeah, I think I can. And they were like, that shouldn't be. So
no. Oh
no.
my gosh. So they gave you 2 epidurals, is what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so he went to put it in the first time and he was like, I think I missed. And so he pulled it out and then he went to do it again.
Oh, and it still didn't work.
It still didn't work. No.
Get any relief at all? Like, are you just exactly the same?
Yeah, I felt the same. I felt the same.
It's so rare for that to not work at all after 2. I'm so
really
sorry.
Oh no, it's okay because I'm also a millionaire, so I actually don't mind being in the 1%. So like whatever, like roll the dice. Sometimes you get
1% in everything.
I want it's like if I am the 1% in everything, then so be it. You know what I mean? Like struck by lightning, win the lottery. Like there's both sides, Jen Hamilton.
That's the sucky side.
Yes, that's the sucky side.
That.
Right.
A lot of people, I will say this, a lot of people, and this isn't your situation,
right,
will get a lot of relief. Like they'll even go to sleep. So they get an epidural, they feel awesome. And then when it comes time to push, because the nerves that innervate your butt are lower and thicker, sometimes the epidural doesn't work as well on those. So I'll have people say, oh no, my epidural stopped working. And it's really just that the epidural doesn't cover that as well.
Oh,
and I tell them, like, it's better than not having an epidural. Like if,
for sure.
if it was working before and then you're like 10 centimeters and like, oh, it's not working anymore. The only time that happens that it's truly not working is if it got pulled out about an hour ago because it takes a while to wear off, or if your medicine wore off or like ran out an hour ago and we're,
Got it.
There's pumps that tell us if it's going to run out. So you'd know. But for those people, I tell them that even though it hurts real, real bad, it's better than it would have been without. So I had a girl one time who, it was her second baby, and I was asking her about like her pain goals. How can I help you? And she said, I want to go without an epidural this time because my epidural worked last time until it was time to push and then it stopped working. Now I know what that probably means, that it was, placed correctly, and just that those sensations are so intense. And I said, absolutely, girl, I will help you through whatever you need. I will be your cheerleader to get through it. So then it comes time to push. And while she's pushing, she's screaming, my epidural did work last time.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
But there are some epidurals that just, and the way that you know what camp you belong in is if your epidural didn't, like you got no relief, that means that it was not working. Like it was not in the right place.
Yep.
Usually not in the right place.
That was the issue. It wasn't in the right place. Yeah, I was even mashing the button, whatever the button is. Yeah, and I was like, oh, this button's broken. Everything's broken. But the thing about it, and I will say this to anyone who's listening, again, like I said, this wasn't traumatic for me. It was just, it was unexpected, and as a type A planner, I definitely was like, oh, I'm not trying to be hero here. Like, I'm okay getting an epidural, like it's whatever. And just like things that I thought would happen didn't happen. And it's why I'm so grateful for one, having followed you in advance, because even though I couldn't predict what would go different than expected, I don't want to use the word wrong, but different, I knew from listening to you that it was okay to expect different and that I didn't need to go into panic mode just because different occurred. And I also knew that I could communicate different. So I had a nurse who was on my service who'd only been in L&D for a couple months, bless her heart. I'm not going to say her name, but she was so sweet. And I could tell she was doing her best, but I could also tell that she was slipping out of the room to Google. It kind of felt like, that feel of like, oh, I'm going to ask somebody real quick. I will be right back. Like, I think we're good, but I'm just going to go. We'll see, and bless her heart, because I was also an older mom, which I think was part of it. I knew I had daughters her age. Like I knew what was happening here. And I had to, ask her nicely. I was like, I love you so much. I'll say Heather, her name. I was like, Heather, I love you so much, but there's a little bit of a loss of confidence, at this point, and I'm just going to have to remove you from my service. And it's not personal. And I want you to stay in the game. And, it's just right now, I think I need someone different, and
good for you.
Thank you.
No, that is such a hard thing to do.
I felt bad about it. I did.
Because people do. People
Yeah.
do feel bad about it. And in the book, I talk about how you can navigate that for people.
Right.
Right. Because it is absolutely okay to say, I need a new nurse. And that's
Yes.
and that's all the words you say.
Mhm.
But it's such a hard, like, getting it from your brain to your lips
Yes.
is the longest journey.
Yes.
So I'm so proud of you for being able to.
Well, I did it because of you, right? And so I was proud to hear it because, and this is the one thing I really want to send home about the value of this book and your knowledge in this book is it's not just I'm going to paint the picture so you can kind of get an idea of what's going in. You also cover that, like, look, if I didn't cover it here in the vibes, and if the vibe that you get is something totally different than what I was even in here, and even if you're the support person, the one tool you can walk in there and say is, I think I need something different from someone different. And having that was huge because what was happening to me, like, honestly wasn't covered. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't know. But what I did know was to say, hey, Heather, I appreciate, because also I'm a mom too. I was like, I appreciate you're doing your best, babe. And you're doing so hard, but right now I need something different. And my husband went and got someone different. And I had a different team in there and they all came in because I was crashing out because of my blood pressure drop, and it was, at the end of the day, my baby came and she was great. And fortunately, it was the end of her rotation. So she was able to just go home anyways. I was like, look, you just go. You'll be great. Have a good day. Yeah, go rest. It's the end. You tired. You did your best. I could tell, though, there was one point where I held her hand and I was like, are you all right?
Oh, that's sweet of you to check in on her.
Well, that was when I was like, I think I might need a new nurse because I don't feel like that's how this is supposed to be playing out.
Opposite, actually.
She was so stressed, girl. I was like, oh, baby, you're not okay. Like, it's okay. Like, she was nervous, but God bless her. I know that eventually she's going to be a Jen Hamilton because she cared. She just didn't know what to do. It was just out of sorts. So Birth Vibes, empowers you on all respects, even in the area where if Jen didn't cover it, guess what? She covers it, and I thank you for that. Everyone wants a Jen Hamilton by their side. And now with Birth Vibes, we can actually have that. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. And so y'all, I'm going to have all the details on how to grab Birth Vibes. Honestly, this isn't really something optional to get because it's not Jen's like, for real, girl? And I'm like, no, like, this is an assignment. It's mandatory. If you're a grandma, you need to get the book. If you want to be a grandma, you should probably get the book. If you are someone who is freezing your eggs now, get the book now. And so that way you're informed for what might happen later in case it's an option, because you want to know if you go and use these eggs. Don't get pregnant if you don't know what the vibes are going to be. You know what I mean? Read the book. It makes sense. And there's always going to be someone who might need your support. And depending on what the world gives, we've had this conversation. People may be birthing in buses. Be prepared. Read the book. We want to be ready. And thank you for getting us ready. And we're just so grateful that you're in this world and here to support you in every way, shape, and form.
Thank you, Nicole. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.